Pecha Kucha 120, almost painting in The Invisible Man. This is a peculiar week in which I feel like I perhaps should have been reading more comic books. I've got two stacks of comic books, one due back to the library and stuff I've bought that I haven't gone through, one of which is The Invisible Man, which I did read. This is apparently a retelling of H.G. Wells's. I don't know if it's a short story or a big book, but The Invisible Man. And it looks like it's from the team who have been producing the Sherlock Holmes graphic novel series. I've been reading from my library as well. So it's got the same kind of highly functional art, the same square speech bubbles, and it looks like it's been made by Europeans for a European market, which is great because there's no British comic book industry anymore. At least it's still the stuff going on in Europe. But yeah, the graphic novel has some particularly strange pacing where it kind of gets very actiony quite fast. The Invisible Man causing trouble in the town he's in, throwing people out of windows and barging people off of stairs and kicking as many dogs as he can find. That's the thing for him. He stumbles across the town doctor and tells him his backstory. And the Invisible Man can be defined in like two words. He's arrogant and he's utterly unsympathetic as a character. Unlike the nobody from the graphic novel I read a couple of weeks ago, this guy is he's a bastard. And even when he gives a flashback of how he kind of became invisible, you know, they color him with red eyes just so you absolutely know. Oh, actually, no, it might be because I think he's albino, so he would actually have had red eyes. Okay, yeah, but that's convenient, isn't that convenient? But yeah, good, but not worth dwelling on. I did a bit of half painting this week of an octopus, line art, grayscale with the airbrush. Added a black background, started working in color. I was probably about 20% in for a finished painting. Octopuses are weird and they're hard to draw. I watched a Photoshop tutorial. This guy's pretty good at this stuff. It's not that complicated. It's just about how you use Photoshop filters in ways that you probably wouldn't have thought of until you've seen someone do them. And it just makes me realize I've used Photoshop for years, and what do I actually know? I was also messing around. You know, there was a lot of like airbrushing and painting this week. I like creating stuff with lines. It's simple, it's straightforward. But you know, painting, building up the shapes, I think that's a useful skill set to have as well. So I was just looking at that. I'd probably say unsuccessfully, but art's only unsuccessful until you make it work. Took a portrait of John Wayne. Just wanted to try airbrushing, doing a daily sketch airbrush. It's not clever. Um, there's a problem with like things becoming too smooth. I mean, ignoring the fact the proportions are off. But when I was messing around, I discovered a different chalk brush. It's called Noise, and I kind of painted this using the kind of painting techniques of like mixing and matching colors, having what do they call it, like, well, there's no secondary light source there, but it's very suffuse. You get soft edges just like with an airbrush, even though it's like a pastel technique. So I just did like a one-page comic to see, is this something I could use for coloring the Smiley Show, because I need to complicate things when it comes to the Smiley Show, don't I? So you know, I applied a single layer of this stuff. It's like charcoal. It's messy and it gets everywhere. So I'd have to apply a lot of masks to the border panels and stuff to keep things clean. But I do like how certain colors overlap each other and how you get a texture. So this is it without any of the panels or the lines. I think the first three images work quite well. Superman was a great opportunity to really dig in deep, but I didn't. Yeah, you need to kind of put a lot of work into the human form when you don't have lines to make everything look how it should be. This week I did episode 2, but technically episode 1 of Colt Cougar Draws. I thought I'd better just, you know, hammer home what the Smiley Show is so that I don't have to do it every time. Interesting pacing I had, I must say. I might have overdone it ever so slightly with its length. I actually did set a stopwatch and then didn't like use it. So yeah, I don't regret it being as long as it is, but it really shouldn't be as long as it is. Uh, part part of that is because it's both Smiley and Vegeta, and it's about the Smiley show, and it's about the set. Maybe I shouldn't have done the different ranges of faces towards the end, but I felt like that was something worth doing because, I mean, it was fun. And I think this is the kind of stuff that shows where my level is. These kind of almost caricatures of facial expressions, these kind of manga short stops. That's where my art is the most effective. And yeah, like I said, doing Smiley and Vegeta, too much. But I don't really want to separate them because it is about the Smiley show, and they do typically come as a pair. After I finished my hour-long recording, I actually started colouring one of my other Smiley shows that I've been sitting on for quite some time. So even if the video itself, the YouTube video itself, serves no purpose, it actually did get me in the mood to keep working. And this is kind of the reason I'm trying to push the YouTube stuff. So I think I might be onto something. Sad Clown of the Week, Holmes and Watson. I was going to go see this. I recommended seeing this to someone, and then Mark Commode said this is this is about as funny as the floor. It's crazy because I didn't look into it. I just saw it's got Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon in it, and you know, obviously Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. And I just assumed, how is this going to not be funny? But maybe Will Ferrell has become the new Adam Sandler. I don't know. But Mark Kermode was saying when he walked out of the cinema with the other people he saw this with, and everybody was just like in stunned silence at how unfunny this film was. I just thought, yeah, I might have dodged a bullet. I might have dodged a bullet with this one. But that brings us to the end of Pecha Kucha 120, and I will see you next time.